After watching my previous video on tuning basics, you all know now that fuel, spark or ignition timing, and compression is the recipe for combustion in gasoline engines. Out of the three, ignition timing is probably the least understood and underestimated variable in the tuning process. Today, I'll tell you a few secrets on how to unlock more power, more economy, and less heat from your engine. I'll also explain exactly how important proper ignition settings are during the tuning process and how ignition timing really works. So let's fire this off right now. I know many of you are anxious to see the progress on the M8 versus twin cam video series where I'm building two of our Skunk Works engines. We will continue that series in the next video. I've been focusing on the preliminary blueprint aspects of those builds, and I want to make sure the content's ready for you guys for the next episode, so stay tuned for that. Now, after the previous video on tuning, I received hundreds of emails from viewers asking questions about ignition timing. One of our premium channel members, in fact, Christoph, who lives out in Switzerland, I've been helping him tune his bike over the computer. Now, he's done a fantastic job and has learned a great deal over this time, and he was the inspiration for this video, in fact, diving deeper into ignition timing. Now, ignition timing refers to the exact moment a spark plug fires relative to degrees of crankshaft rotation before top dead center of the piston on the compression stroke. There's often a misconception that spark is triggered when the piston is at top dead center, but the truth is that fuel doesn't start burning the instant the spark plug is fired. It takes time for the fuel to burn. Then it expands and reaches its maximum combustion pressure. This is why ignition timing must be advanced, typically somewhere between 10 to 40 degrees before top dead center for virtually every internal combustion gasoline engine. First, I'll more clearly explain advance versus ignition retard. Remember, we're referencing crank rotation before top dead center of the piston during the upstroke. So when we advance timing, we are telling the spark plug to fire earlier, which would result in a higher number of degrees before top dead center of the piston. The opposite is true for retarding timing, where we are telling the spark plug to fire later, which would result in a lower number in degrees before top dead center. The objective behind precisely setting ignition timing is to get the most out of every power stroke by allowing enough time for combustion pressure to build up and achieve its peak pressure at the precise moment the piston comes over top dead center and starts its way down on the power stroke. Typically that's at around 4 to 6 degrees after top dead center on average. Now, the point that ignition advance produces the highest torque value is called maximum brake torque, or MBT. Just as determining proper air-fuel ratio, this is a key element in the tuning process that requires talent and skill to uncover. If the ignition starts too late in the combustion cycle, the piston can literally outrun the expanding explosion. Now keep in mind, a piston on a 4 5/8 stroke crank will be moving at over 4,600 feet per minute. That's pretty fast at, again, 6,000 RPM. Firing too late or too much retard is especially inefficient for power and performance since the built-up pressure is wasted. It also creates overheating and higher emissions as less of the combustion occurs inside the cylinder. Now, on the other hand, if the ignition starts too soon or advanced, the pressure will be reached before the piston even gets to top dead center. The piston finds itself fighting against a very large force as it moves up on the compression stroke. That creates that pinging noise. That noise you're hearing is literally the piston and internal engine parts beating themselves to death. It can break rings, erode and break pistons, and even valves. The point just before this pinging noise occurs is called point of detonation or knock point. You never want to adjust ignition timing precisely to the knock point because there's no safety margin and there are many variables that will affect point of combustion as well. So a margin must be built into the timing to accommodate that so you don't damage your engine. Some of the variables include things like fuel octane, the quality of the fuel itself, your air-fuel ratio, your air density, temperature, engine speed, engine load, cam profiles, and compression ratio, just to name a few. Now, a typical ignition timing map is comprised of engine RPM, manifold pressure or vacuum, and the actual degrees of ignition timing, and it can look a lot like this. You'll notice right away that there is a wide range of values. Typically an engine, regardless of make and model, will follow the same trend. As load and RPM decreases and increases, so does ignition timing. Let's see if I can help you better understand the reasons behind this. So engine vacuum is a measure of engine load. As the load changes, so does the air-fuel ratio, so timing must change with it. Also, as RPM increases, the pistons move faster, and there's more fuel, so there again, timing must change with it. There needs to be just enough ignition advance under all operating conditions to accommodate for change in piston speeds, engine load, and air-fuel ratios. As the piston moves faster, more advance is required. On average, flame expansion speed remains fairly constant inside the cylinder, so if the piston is moving faster, you have to fire the plug earlier. You've probably already noticed that to optimize this ignition map for every cell, it would take a very long time. For instance, all the different load breakpoints multiplied by all the RPM breakpoints, then take 20 ignition samples for each individual cell at roughly 10 to 15 minutes per point would take about 40,000 minutes or 81 days and 8-hour shifts to make it perfect. This is why when I develop an ignition map from scratch, I use a method called design experimentation, where the relationship between the multiple variables are studied by collecting strategic sample points between the low and high limits in both engine load and RPM. That data is collected and converted into a mathematical model to display the results graphically, and the surface becomes a map. From there, the individual map calibration is utilized by tuners to confirm the model accuracy, which should be done when your motorcycle is tuned. Remember, we are also riding air-cooled engines. For the most part, we don't have a cooling system to control engine heat. We only have a combination of air-fuel ratio and ignition timing to do that. Tuned properly, your engine will run cooler, it'll make more power. The key points to tuning ignition timing applies to all engines. The engine should start without strain, it shouldn't ping, and it should be efficient, therefore make good, smooth power. You find the knock point. You let your experience guide you to know how much safety margin you require to account for the variables, and you work in average areas of idle, steady cruise, roll-on, and wide open throttle. I hope this helps you better understand the importance of ignition timing and why the human element cannot be replaced by auto-tuning systems. This should also demonstrate that there is often power hidden within your ignition tables. Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out our previous video on the subject here and another video on how to read spark plugs. It'll help you with your quest to find the perfect ignition timing for your ride. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, follow the link in the description below, and be sure to like and subscribe for more content just like this. When you need parts, give us a call. We can get you just about anything you need for your ride. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Have a good one.